And as I read from 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, 13th verse, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Hello, gentle people, and welcome to another Sparrow Art Vibes video tutorial. If you are new to my channel, I hope you will find something that inspires you to create something beautiful. And if you are a subscriber and returning viewer, of course, I just love to be sharing with you some of my creations. For today's tutorial, I received an order on my Shopify store to create a set of inspirational beverage coasters. Let's see. Today I'm going to show you how I fulfill or create. The window is open. Can you hear the breeze blowing? How I created or will create this Faith, Hope, and Love coaster set. It is listed here, Corinthians 13:13, as a Mother's Day gift. So let's take a look at it. Okay, and the inspirational coaster set is listed as a Mother's Day gift. So if you have an opportunity to check out my Shopify store, you will see I have a section Gifts for Moms. And this includes a variety of products from dominoes, beverage coasters, travel mugs, ceramic mugs, charcuterie boards, again, beverage coasters. For new moms, we have a baby stat canvas because I've now ventured into doing some print-on-demand products. So I have the baby canvas, I have the matching blanket. Let's get a better picture of that. Yeah, I have the matching blanket right there. I also have shot glass paddles, picnic blankets, you name it. Tote bags, again, tote bags, blankets, and canvases are all a part of the print-on-demand. So all of these things, if they're not the print-on-demand items, all of these things are items that you yourself can create because they are created using resin or using bamboo. This is all resin, and that's the set that we're going to be creating today. But these are all things that you yourself can make. So I hope you are inspired. When you are looking at something online, I'm always telling you, this is a sample, and so we're going to create something similar to this. So let's take a look at our materials and then we will get started. Okay, so the materials we need to make our inspirational beverage coaster set are, of course, our 4 beverage coaster molds. We need our resin, which I am using the Craft Smart. That would be the Part A resin and the Part B hardener. And we need a measuring cup to mix our resin, stir stick for that resin, some nitrile gloves to keep our hands clean. We are going to be using 3 colors of mica powder, and so I need 3 paper cups, 3 stir sticks. The mica powders I'm going to be using first is the Eye Candy Koi Yellow, the Pearl X Micro Pearl, and then the Eye Candy 14 Nugget Gold. And to add some bling, I have some gold crushed glass. And in order to put the text on the coasters, I have not decided which shade of gold I want to use. This is a Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby, and this is a shimmer vinyl from Cricut. But I have both of these. I don't know which I'll use, but we'll use one of them. So those are our materials. Let's clear the table and get started pouring. The first thing we need to do is mix our resin. And again, I am using the Craft Smart resin. And I always tell everyone to make sure that you are following directions for the manufacturer of the brand that you have. So step one, they say measure equal parts of part A and part B by volume. So we'll do that. Then mix together slowly and thoroughly. Then pour slowly and evenly onto the surface. Want to make sure that you do see that the mixing time is 5 minutes. And the other thing that I sometimes don't talk about is how much working time you have. That means before this actually starts to set. So this resin has 30 minutes. We won't take 30 minutes. This is real quick. But again, mixing ratio is 1:1. Mixing time 5 minutes. And so each mold needs 60 milliliters, and since we have 4 molds, 6 times 4 is 24, so that's 240 milliliters. This container goes from 200 to 250, and so I am really particular about accurate measuring. If you don't measure accurately, your resin may not set properly. It may be, oh, I can't show you. Hold on, let me see. Let me go find. Okay, I found it. I made this cell phone stand. I made this cell phone stand a couple of years ago, and while the stand itself is pretty, this never properly set. Look, it bends. Look at that. It bends. Look at that. That's horrible. So while this may look nice, if you put the stand on here, okay, so if I put this together like so, you put your cell phone on here, watch how it starts to bend. So you can't do anything with that. And I keep this just occasionally if someone's asking me about resin. I like to have a sample of what happens when you do not do it the correct way. So this is what you get, this bendy stuff. Okay, so always, again, I need 240. This measuring cup doesn't do 240, it does 250, so that's what we're going to do. And there is no 125 on here. So I'm using the full cup measurements. So that's 4 cups, and 8 cups will give us our 1:1 ratio. So we are going to do 4 ounces. Let me be correct. 4 ounces of the part B. And 4 ounces is the equivalent of 118 milliliters. So 4 ounces of B, and then 4 ounces of A. And our directions, of course, said mix for 5 minutes. So we're going to turn on our timer. Okay, so now we are going to pour resin into 3 cups. Different from the way I normally do it. I would normally evenly divide this resin into these 3 cups, but I actually want to keep quite a bit of the clear resin because I want a lot of negative space in these coasters. So I have roughly 100 milliliters. I think the camera can get that. Roughly 100 milliliters left. And so I am going to use that as the base, and then the colors are really like an accent. Think in terms of if you look up at the sky and you have the blue sky, then you have some white clouds, and you can see through. So that's kind of the effect that I'm going for, that see-through kind of thing. So we're going to mix our micro pearl, our koi yellow. We don't really want a lot of this. We just want some color. And I'm really going for more translucent. I do not want the colors on this to be opaque. I want you to be able to see through the coasters. And then we have the 14 nugget gold. This is really sparkly. Okay, and so our colors are mixed. I checked these before I started to make sure they were all clean, but let me wipe them out one more time. Alright, so I said we had the, I kept about half of the clear resin, and so we are going to start with the clear. I've got a spot right there. Move these out my way. We're going to start with the clear, and we're going to pour some clear into each of these. And usually I mix my glass in my resin. I'm not doing that today just because of the amount of resin that I'm using. So we're going to sprinkle our gold crushed glass. And again, this is the goal here is to be almost translucent. And so we're going to pour a little bit of gold around our gold glass. And then we're going to pour some more clear across here. Clear across here. Some clear across here. Some clear across here. And then we're going to do some white, some of our pearl white. We're going to do some of our yellow. And then that gold. And then some more white. And then clear. Use up all of our yellow. And again, really going for more of a translucent. I want you to have a lot of, ooh, spilt that. I want a lot of the clear. So now I'm just pouring the clear Just breaking this up. And I think we can add some more glass at this point. Some more glass in there. And some of that glass will sink and fill the edges. Do we have any white left? A little bit of white. Put white over there. Put a drop of white over there. Just putting a drop of white in this clear space over on this other side here. And if I do it on all of them, it won't look like a drip, it'll look like a part of the design. Alright, and then heat gun to pop any air bubbles. Okay, so now that I've popped the air bubbles, I'm going to take the heat gun and I'm going to move some of this color. Alrighty. Now what you see on the bottom, of course, you know when you work with resin, what you're looking at here is not what it's going to look like on the other side. But again, we're trying to get that sort of cloud effect going, just disperse that white over that, but again, leaving lots of clear. I want a lot of negative space on this. Alrighty, so they are done. Again, you've got that little white blob on each of them, so nobody will think it's a spill because it's on all of them. The glass, I guess I could really take a toothpick. Excuse me, I could take a toothpick and break spread some of this a little more evenly here. That looks kind of clunky there. And always remember, if you're using a toothpick, be careful that you do not scratch your mold. I had a gentleman tell me that I sold him a chess mold that was cracked. And I looked at it and I could not find a crack. I had 2 other people look at it, and then somebody says, well, you've got a line right here, but that's not a crack through it. I says, oh, Shinny, that's a scratch on the surface. That's from my mold. So okay, so we've leveled that out some. So we will now just cover this and let it dry. Let it cure. It is the next day. The coasters have cured, and so we're going to unmold them. Take a look-see at how they turned out, and then we'll go cut our vinyl lettering. So that's the back side. My favorite part of working with resin is the unmolding. So that's the back. And again, remember, the front isn't going to look quite like that. Oh, I like that. Just what I wanted, translucent. You can see through that. That's nice. Let's do our next one. Okay, so that's the back on that one. And that's the front. Boy, that's a very different. That really looks like clouds. I like that. It's always good when you're satisfied, pleased with what you've created. So again, that's the back, and that's the front. That's pretty. Okay, and for the last one, again, that's our back. So now I move to the computer and we're going to put the scripture on these. Okay, so now what I need to do is get the scriptural text onto the coasters. And so I'm in my Cricut design space and you can see that I have typed the word faith. And kind of played with different fonts to see which font I liked best. But okay, so we have our word faith, our words, excuse me. We have our words faith, hope, and love. And then we have that last sentence, delight in the Lord. And I did take these and add a little glyph, this little thingy here. I did add the little glyph to give it a little more, I don't know, pizzazz. So these are done, and then the question was whether I wanted this dove with the little olive branch or whether I wanted this dove that has less structure. And then I also actually played with a variety of olive branches. You can see there. But I don't know that I'll even use those because I think it'll create competition with the colors that are on the coaster. So anyway, let's go ahead and get these printed. Okay, so what we're going to do is just go up to the corner here and hit make it. The one thing I had not decided was which one of the vinyls. My chair creaks so much. The one thing I had not decided was which one of the vinyls I was going to be using. And I generally make that decision after everything is poured, so I'm going with the this one, the more yellow vinyl. This darn chair makes so much noise. So now we're just going to go up here and click on make it. And then we're going to be on the mat. And we are picking what's in yellow. And actually this can move up here to save some vinyl. Yep, let's rearrange a few of these just to save the vinyl. So I need a piece of vinyl that's 4.5 by 5.5 inches. Okay, so we have rearranged this to maximize the vinyl. Okay, and then we hit continue. We choose our material, so we're going with the shimmer, and then we hit go. And then we hit go. Unload. The first thing you see is that those the artwork. This is so thin that artwork just tore up on this particular vinyl. And in fact, even some of the letters, if you look at Delight, that's all chewed up. So this is not going to work. I'm going to have to redo this. Okay, so I have gone in and I have deleted the artwork and I have changed to the thicker Cricut vinyl. So let's see what happens now. Okay, let's see what we have this time. Alright, none of the lettering is shredded, but I think the lines on these are so thin that it really isn't working for the shimmer. Okay, so the Paper Studio shimmer, it just got chewed up. That was useless. So then I went to using the Cricut. So then I decided to try the Cricut. And while the lettering cut nicely, it turned out to be very difficult to weed, so I didn't use that. And then I went to an Oracal regular vinyl, again, chewed that up. So my solution was to change the font and go with a thicker font, and then to go with the Cricut Joy Smart Vinyl. So let's see what happens. And well, that certainly looks better. It's not all chewed up. So let's see whether or not this weeds easily. Definitely is an improvement. Thicker type and a heavier vinyl. So let me try weeding this and see. It's funny when you're videotaping this and stuff doesn't go right, then people get to see you struggle, like, really? Okay, so I have transfer tape. Nothing like trying to do this on camera and have it not work the way it's supposed to. Okay, so we have our word hope. We are going to burnish this. We then flip it over and take the backing off of that. Yep. And we are going to put the word hope right. I want hope as much on the white as possible so you get a nice contrast. Okay, and then you peel that up. And now I can go in and try and take out the center pieces that wouldn't come out earlier. There we go. Took long enough. And a little piece out of the E. and the little piece out of the P. All right, finally, hope. That's what we're after. Look how long that took. All right, so now I'll just do the others. I'm gonna move the camera out the way and just get these others done quickly. All right, so I have the lettering on each of these. There's faith, hope, love, and then delight in the Lord. And so what we're going to do now is just mix 40 milliliters of resin so that we can seal the lettering. Okay, so we need to mix the resin to seal the lettering. I have marked my container. We are going to be doing 20 and 20 for 40. So we start with part B, hardener. And 20 milliliters of part A, resin. You hear my dogs in the background. We know from earlier on that Craft Smart resin mixes for 5 minutes. Okay, with our resin mixed, we now just pour, and there's a big old piece of dog hair on that one. All right, and so again, we're just going to pour this clear coat on these. All right, and then pop the air bubbles. And then I always simply tilt these. And that way we know the resin goes up against all the sides. And this is self-leveling, so we'll leave that like that. And if you've watched my videos, you know my table is not level. So on these, on this side, I always just add a little popsicle stick. And again, these are this resin is self-leveling. And then one more pass with the heat gun. And when you're doing this, always make sure that you go around the edges, these outer edges. And I've got a little something something right there. I got it. Okay, so all we need to do now is just cover these and let them cure a few hours, and then we'll be done. Okay, I am back, and let's get this uncovered. Ooh, I like. Oh my goodness. These look like glass. Look at that. They look like glass. When I was saying I wanted them to be translucent, that is exactly what I was going for. Really, really. Oh. So all we have to do now is just, these were a nice clean pour, no overflow at all. But again, a lot of times the edges on resin are sharp. So I always, even if there's no overflow, I will take my Dremel and I'll go along these edges just to make sure they're nice and smooth. And then we'll put our rubber bumps on, and that will be that. Alright, and we just wipe these. Any dust off of these. And then my 3-in rubber bumps. These are tiny. I'm always saying that people online on Etsy will say they put cork on the bottom of their coasters to protect the furniture. Cork will protect your furniture. However, cork, when it gets old and dries out, it becomes brittle and it starts to crumble and you leave dust and dirt on your tables. The other thing is, once cork gets wet, it starts to mildew. It's useless. These are clear, so in a case like this, where this is see-through, having the clear rubber bumps is just perfect, because you will not be able to see these when they are on the table. So we put our 4 rubber bumps on there. And again, the one big advantage to the rubber is that it will last, but the other advantage that I really like is that it makes your coasters non-skid. When you set them on the table, they're not going anywhere. They're not going to move. And when you're putting these on, do not put them all the way to the edge. And the reason you don't want to put them all the way to the edge is because if you want to store these and stack them, if your bumps are on the edge, you can't stack them. But if you move in about 1/4 of an inch, then you're good to go. So let's get this last one done. And voila, we are finished. Our faith, hope, love, delight in the Lord. There you go. And as I read from 1 Corinthians 13th chapter, 13th verse, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.